Welcome to Body Buddies, home of the Power Foods lifestyle. Take it one meal, one workout, one day at a time. And now, here's the founder of Body Buddies, Kristy Jo.
Welcome back to another episode of the Body Buddies podcast. This is episode number 161, The Coconut Oil Scandal. In case we haven't met before, my name is Kristy Jo. I am a mind and body strategist, and I teach people how to bridge the gap between the science of optimality and the reality of our day-to-day lives and psychology. You can find me on Facebook as Body Buddies or on Instagram and YouTube as Bod Buds, BODBUDS. If you're new here, consider subscribing. I record weekly podcasts about the hot topics of nutrition, fitness, and mindset, and everything you need to know in order to think differently and become a strategist of your health. I teach you how to achieve your best health, your best body composition, and how to achieve longevity. You can start your journey today by picking up a free copy of my book, The Power Foods Lifestyle. This book teaches you nutrient pairing, psychology behind eating, and a lot of the nuanced and deeper, very specific information that I share in sound bites here on the podcast. So let's go ahead and move into today's episode. This is actually going to be the audio recording from a Facebook Live I did when the sensationalist headlines started to come out that all of the big news lines, they were stating that coconut oil is bad for your health, that you need to be doing vegetable oil instead. And even some of my most awesome body buddies who have been listening to the podcast and who have read my book and who have been doing the training, they got confused. They let a headline confuse them. So in this episode, I go through a lot of different things. You're going to really learn a lot. I'm going to teach you how to not be persuaded by sensationalist headlines. I'm going to teach you how to find the truth about all the variables that matter. Not the ones that they handpick, they cherry pick and from the data and then display it as the truth. Guys, this is a marketing world. You've got to realize this world is run by money. You're going to come to know how cholesterol actually rises, how high triglycerides actually form, and you're going to learn lots of tips and tricks about nutrition strategy along the way. So this is not just a podcast episode about coconut oil, though. I'm just going to state it right here. Coconut oil is perfectly fine in the proper power foods ratios that I teach. It is a power fat. It is primarily a saturated fat, but as you should know, if you are a loyal listener, saturated fats can be eaten. The ratio is 1 to every 2 unsaturated fats for every time we eat a fat paired with our PVF, protein, veggie, fat-based meals. Very simple, but you'd be surprised how many millions of people are confused. So if you are a body buddy, I am here to empower you. I'm here to train you. I need you to not keep this information to yourself. This is like nuggets of gold that I just ask for you to, 1, leave a review, 2, share this with somebody who really needs to hear it. All right, here we go into the episode. I value your listening. Thank you for trusting me, being here with me. Sure love you, sure proud of you, and want you to keep going. Here we go. USA Today has basically slandered coconut oil and saying that it's causing, heart disease, it's raising LDL cholesterol, and that it's been kind of put on as the darling of the food industry. And now people are so confused because, as you guys may have noticed in the past few years, coconut oil is in everything. I have some right here, fractionated coconut oil. In the Power Foods Lifestyle, it is on the Power Foods list. It is part of some of the recipes. I use this on my skin, my face, things like that. So is coconut oil bad internally? And is it really this? It's been aggrandized as this powerful food product, and it shouldn't be. We're going to talk about this here today. So thank you for joining. You're going to learn some things here. So firstly, the article, if you haven't seen it, it kind of talks about like saturated fat, LDL, and heart disease. Here's the thing, you guys, the debate about saturated fat is not new. It's been going on since the 40s and 50s. And in fact, there was a researcher who basically declared fat was all things evil. And that has been eradicated. If you did not know that, fats are wonderful. They are powerful. They are healing.
But here's the thing is we cannot take anything out of context. There is a great deal of understanding different variables. So I've written on my whiteboard behind me 5 different portions that we need to go through if you're going to understand all of this. If you're just here for the quick answer, you're not in the right place. You don't belong in Body Buddies. Get out of here. If you're here to learn how to critically think and come to conclusions and not be taken advantage of by sensationalist headlines, if you're unwilling to do the research, leave. If you're willing to listen and think clearly, you are in the right place. So let's get started. I'm going to bring you up a little bit closer here. So I'm actually in Seattle. I'm at a marketing thing. My team has left, so now I'm just like, hey, let's teach people. All right, let's see. I want you to have a very good view of this. I'd rather you see this than me. Okay, and my light is shining right on that, but that says sensationalism. Okay, I think I need to put this straight on. Oh, that fixed it. Come up here, close and personal. Here we go. Are you ready for class, my friends? First things first, let's talk about what actually raises your cholesterol. Oxidation. Dun dun dun. Not cholesterol. Sorry, eating cholesterol does not raise your cholesterol. Not saturated fat. No, that doesn't raise your cholesterol. It's when sugar, aka carbohydrates, are in the system at the same time that it's oxidized. Therefore, cholesterol rises. So by simple byproduct of removing the sugar or carbs when you eat a cholesterol-based food, we're talking steak, we're talking eggs, we're talking bacon, anything basically from an animal or coconut oil, then you eliminate the oxidation process. That is how people in ketosis, in here at the Power Foods Lifestyle, PVF, protein, veggie, fat-based meals, which, by the way, that's what I recommend everybody do. That's our starting point, is I want everyone in PVF baseline. Then we add carbs for 2 things. Now remember, guys, I'm a strategist. I don't like people calling me a nutritionist. I am a nutrition strategist, which means I take psychological tendencies way into account when teaching people. And that is a huge part. You cannot talk optimality until you talk how you think, because 99.9% of you can't apply optimality, right? P.S. If you're new to Body Buddies, hey, I'm passionate, don't get offended. So anyhow, and I get tangented very quickly, which is why I had to do this. Don't oxidize your fats. PVF baseline, there's 2 things you eat carbs for. Number 1, energy. Your brain needs carbohydrates, and ketosis is like a purposeful shifting the state of fuel that your brain runs off of. We're not here to talk about ketosis. That's for another time. I have a 6-part series on ketosis on the Body Buddies podcast, iTunes, Stitcher Radio, if you're curious and you want to learn more. And I talk all the psychology of it too. So energy for the brain, for muscles, if you're an athlete, if you're a construction worker, like you can't just deplete your body of all carbs. Secondly, and here's a huge tenet that I feel most people don't take into account, yet I do as a strategist, is the psychological and the emotional need for those things. You can't just strip those out of your diet and say, good luck, suck it up, be strong. I mean, would you guys agree? Like, give me a like if you think that that's a wise thing to not just cut something out. Yet that's what the food industry does. It tries to get you to go all or nothing, and then you end up with problems. So anyhow, in the Power Foods Lifestyle, having coached 2,000 individual people and having over 4,000 people through my challenges, reading my book, trying to apply this lifestyle, I feel pretty confident in saying the PVF strategy with moderated carbohydrates and bringing in all of the different principles of the Power Foods Lifestyle, including coconut oil, reduces cholesterol. So let's move on. Thanks for the likes, guys. By the way, I really would appreciate you sharing this video if you like it, if you learn something. Help me get this information to other people who are wanting to learn, okay? So we talked about this. So I'm going to delete, I think I'm on my computer. I'm going to erase just so I can stay focused here. So we talked about oxidation. So let's just do a few application principles super quick before I move on. So that means don't put butter or oil on your toast. Don't eat red meat with the potato. If you're going to have red meat, you need to do greens with it. If you want a potato, that's fine. Put it with a lean meat. Don't put it with a cholesterol-based meat, okay? I mean, I'm talking lean fish, lean chicken, lean turkey, okay? It's a game of alternatives. What other things? Some people put coconut oil, like even in their oatmeal. Sorry guys, I know oats are a healthy power food. That's great. It's carbohydrates. So I want you to start being very aware of your carbohydrate and your fat combinations. That's exactly what my book teaches, and you can get a free copy of my book at powerfoodslifestyle.com. I give it away for free. You just pay shipping because I'm that passionate about getting you the correct information, at least a baseline to start thinking critically about your choices rather than the next big fad. Okay, we're going to talk about big pharma and marketing at the end of this, so stick around. I'm going to teach you some things that might blow your mind. So anyhow, let's move on. Hopefully that gave you some ideas. The combinations of carbs and fats are endless, but it's going to start making you aware. Now, here's the thing. I don't like to instill fear in people because, again, psychology. I want you to be aware. It's not going to kill you to put a carb and a fat together. Just be mindful. Let it influence your decisions. Let it influence your portion sizes. Start following my recipes and you'll start to get the feeling of, we need to go either. Or if there is a combination, let's keep the energy portions a little bit smaller so our body can handle it way better. Okay, now this is something I really like. Let's talk the 2-to-1 principle, okay? So if we have, let's say, 3 PVF meals in a day, which is a protein-based food, a veggie-based food, and a fat-based food. So let's just say, for the sake of keeping this easy, like 4 ounces of chicken, some spinach and cucumber, and some avocado. Fantastic, because we need 2 unsaturated fats. That's my little plant. It kind of looks like weed, but I don't actually know what weed looks like, I promise. But someone told me that. So anyway. Sometimes that's why I don't do live videos as much, because I'm like, sometimes I say things I can't edit that. Oh well. We're real people, right? We're real. All right. So saturated fat comes from an animal. So things like butter, like red meat, cream cheese, egg yolk, those types of things are going to be saturated fats. So I want you to do 2 unsaturated fats to every 1 saturated fat. Optimality, people. Don't go freaky on me. Raise your awareness. So, chicken, spinach, avocado, egg whites, carrots. I'm just making up like very baseline. These aren't my delicious recipes. These are like straight out, just so you get the feeling. Nuts, raw nuts. And then, my favorite meal would be, okay, let's do egg whites, 2 strips of bacon, saturated, and spinach. That's my favorite meal, by the way. Ooh, I love my PVF saturated. 2-to-1 principle is the most optimal balance of unsaturated fats. You're going to get your omega-3s, your 6s. The balance is beautiful. It's so easy to remember. And again, it's an awareness thing. So when you're eating your PVF meals, you just kind of backtrack and think, have all my PVF meals been saturated fats today? I need to get some of these plant-based ones. Avocado, olives, nuts. If you want my downloadable free Power Foods list, go to, I'll drop you this link super quick here. A little touch screen. powerfoodslifestyle.com self-training. Okay, so that's where you can go get the free Power Foods list. So we've talked about the 2-to-1 principle. That's very, very, very powerful. Next, are there really magic foods? If you've read my book, you know I dog on that principle because, timber. The media wants you to think there's a magical food. Why would the media want you to do it? Because that's where money is, because that's where the companies pay for advertising. Guys, if you didn't know that this world is run by money, wake up. So headlines. Things that sell are strategized to sell particular products. There are well-meaning people out there, and I don't mean to disregard those. I really feel I'm one of those well-meaning individuals. Do I monetize my programs and courses? Sure, I'm human. I have to make a living too, and I appreciate those of you who pay for programs and courses and even donations. That really helps me keep going because I don't make a ton of money doing this. You don't make a ton of money teaching the truth. Did you know that? You have to sell fads to get rich. So in case you ever wondered about that. Next, So no, there are no magical foods. It's the combination, it's the consistency. You can't just go eat a magic food, which is why I really abhor most detox programs. Again, media and fads, what's going to sell? What do the people want? They want to be told that in 7 days they'll blast fat and, that everything will be made right in their body. No, guys, we got to think deeper. So here is, in order to truly understand the different variables that go into studies and data, we need to go through the tiers of the Power Foods lifestyle. Now, it's not just the Power Foods lifestyle. You can apply these tiers to any dogma of nutrition out there, okay? So tier number 1 is honestly where all the rudimentary data is, and unfortunately, this category is where all these sensationalist claims are coming from without taking into account any of the control variables that would come from tiers 1 through 3. So let me explain those, and you're going to start feeling how this plays out. So in tier 1, we start choosing more power foods, aka foods from the earth, foods that are natural, foods that are not made in a factory. Again, go get your free Power Foods list from my downloadable thing. Does that mean we don't eat anything non-power foods? Not at all. In the Power Foods lifestyle, I teach you how to strategize and think critically to come up with the right strategy for you. That's what matters. So power foods, less sugar. Yeah, guys, we should get less sugar, and I need you really to understand that anything that is carbohydrate based is sugar. And unfortunately, I even still hear it from people that I've had this conversation with over and over. They're like, well, I looked at the back and there was no sugar. And I said, how many grams of carbs? Well, there were 44. I'm like, oh, that is sugar, okay? So look at your labels. I don't give a crap about calories until we're in tier 3. Don't even talk to me about calories. You are wasting your time in the biochemistry of your body. You need to pay attention to your macronutrient groups, which is protein, carbs, fats. That each of these have different chemical roles in your body. They're going to produce different effects, and in different combinations, they're going to do different things in your body. That's where we need to start paying attention, okay? So anyhow, we understand that carbohydrates are sugars, so we need to start reducing those in tier 1. We drink more water, and as you guys know, in the Power Foods lifestyle, I want you to do veggies at every meal. I could spend 4 hours telling you about all the health benefits of eating veggies every hour, that's not what I want. Every meal, every hour on the hour, guys. Start counting them. Talk about getting the free radicals out of your body so that they don't attach to things they're not supposed to, causing inflammation. Inflammation is the root cause of all disease. Giving your body the vitamins, the nutrients that it needs to function correctly. I could go on and on. But that's tier 1 rudimentary data. That's basic stuff. That's not even, let's be honest, that's not even really Power Foods lifestyle power right there. That's called healthy living. Just eat healthy. When people are like, just eat healthy, ditch the diets. They're really talking about a tier 1, which for most people, will that get you to a feeling of goodness and yeah, you're feeling good. Absolutely. And for some people, that's the end of the road, and that's fine. What is the biggest thing though, is when you want to achieve more, whether it's with your health to overcome an inflammatory condition, a particular aesthetic appearance, then you need to move on to tier 2, if not tier 3. Tier 3 is where I tell all my clients the aesthetic changes and those powerful things happen in tier 3. But let's go through tier 2 first. This is where you actually are starting to live a Power Foods lifestyle and apply the principles from my book. So macronutrient combinations, that's where we're doing PVF meals, we're doing PVC meals, we're doing PVFC meals, and we're starting to apply an indulgence strategy. There are 2 indulgence strategies in the Power Foods lifestyle. We have the abstainer, which is where we are going to strategize 1 to 2 indulgence meals, not cheat meals. We don't do that. Negative word. I don't like it. Get rid of it. Abstainer, 1 to 2 indulgence meals per week. No guilt. You earn it. You plan it. You respect it. And you're done. And then you eat strategically the rest of the time. And then we have the moderator. Now, here's the thing, guys. 95%, or sorry, not 95. I'm throwing out weird statistics. 75% of everyone I've ever worked with starts out as an abstainer. I was an abstainer at the beginning of my transformation, my experience as a binge eater. I absolutely was an abstainer. Binge eaters will never be moderators. You're an abstainer. You need to follow this strategy, because if you have the cookie, you're just not programmed to be able to handle that yet. As that calms down, and if you're like, amen, sister, go check out my course, bingebyeBye.com, to learn more about that. I keep giving you guys this weird like dinosaur angle of my eye. I'm like a raptor. I'm going to get you. So moderators are going to do anywhere from 30 to 50 grams of non-strategic carbs per day, planned with a PV anchor. So you could have like your chicken, your spinach, and your Oreos, or you could have your egg whites and your collard greens and your Captain Crunch, but it's in 30 to 50 grams of carbs. If you want to learn more about that strategy, my podcast episode, which discusses that in detail, just go to go to Google and type Body Buddies Podcast Abstainer, and that should pull up the podcast, okay? So anyhow, that's where we start going in tier 2. That's where we start seeing accelerated results. Now, if we want really accelerated, very specific results, we have to get up into 3, which there is a lot to understand, and most people cannot do this on their own without someone like me, who's an expert at being able to strategize the different ranges, the macronutrient combinations, the caloric balance of input to output, the micronutrient balance, the supplemental regimen to account for what's missing in the diet, things like that, in order to achieve a particular outcome, whether through aesthetics or overcoming a condition. Tier 3, if I never lived a tier 3, I would have never achieved my body transformation change. Currently, I live in like a 2 to 1-ish area, and it's this is where a lot of like freedom, like you're still what people say healthy and what I say is strategic, but it's not over the top. This is a great deal of discipline for sure. And people who go into tier 3 need to be very focused, very committed. They're not, they don't display tendencies of being swayed by friends or family or, emotions. Like, we're not there yet. You're not in a tier 3 unless we're to that point of let's follow through, let's be consistent. Tier 4 has a sprinkle down effect. Tier 4 principles can be applied at any level. This is things like organic foods, grass-fed meat. Where are the sources of your food? Like how I put food procurement, like where are those foods coming from? And then artificial sweeteners. There's a lot of other trickle down effect principles that we can put up here, but I want to keep this basic today. So as you can see, what this coconut oil claim is doing is it's stating all of this. It's talking about a food, and it's citing really random studies saying that vegetable oil is better to use than coconut oil. No. Vegetable oil is so processed. Whenever you are if you look at your labels, any oil, you need to look on the back. Anything that says canola, vegetable, partially hydrogenated vegetable, fully hydrogenated vegetable, rapeseed oil, any of those are going to have trans fats in them. Now, trans fats will raise your LDL cholesterol, which is why finally the FDA has, a guideline. Now, that's not to say if a food has the label 0 grams trans fat, that it's totally void of trans fats. No, there's little loopholes here or there. And you guys, you're going to avoid most of the pain of nutrition if you just really start following a Power Foods lifestyle at the level you're ready for. So, a lot of times people try to micromanage all the different details and things they're learning out in nutrition, and I see people really obsess over it, like I did before, because I didn't have a formula to help me blaze through that, but that's what the Power Foods lifestyle will do for you. So what we want to think is, okay, so I read the study, and my brain first goes to, well, what were the control variables? Do you remember our control variables here? So what were they placing the coconut oil with? How many times per day? In what portion size? With what foods? How often in a week? What was the activity level of the people? What was there other tendencies? Were they in a caloric excess all the time? Were they in a caloric maintenance for weight all the time? There were so many variables left out, and these studies were being cited at just point blank rudimentary data that I couldn't even take them seriously. Okay, now people like me who are in the industry have the luxury of being able to critically think like this and just laugh at those articles. But I know that they can cause a lot of trouble for many of you, which is why I appreciate you asking, and I realize, and that's why I spend a great deal of time giving you this free information to help you better think as you are coming across these. So let's talk about why so many of these types of articles and videos and everything is coming out. Well, it's because Big Pharma runs America's money, basically. Okay, do you know how marketing works? Okay, it is all about, here's a product or service they want to sell that's going to make money. They want to scale it, meaning more people with less work buy the product, revenue grows. So how are they going to send money to the product and scale to get the people to buy the product? Well, if they can make a sensationalist headline, then that's fantastic. What happens if Big Pharma sees that coconut oil, something that can be procured naturally, is helping people to fix their cholesterol and not need statins? You know, what if they see this? Is that taking from their revenue pool? Possibly. So is there benefit to making hype over the fact that coconut oil is bad? Something to think about. Welcome to 2017 and the real world. I hope this helps you think more critically. I'm not telling you any yeses or nos or anything. How do I use coconut oil? On my face and my skin. I use it probably every other day, 1 serving, 2 teaspoons to 3 teaspoons, which 3 teaspoons is 1 tablespoon, as a PVF meal. I don't like the taste of it on my salads. I use avocado oil or olive oil there. I will if I'm doing a PVF egg meal, and I go through this process. I'm like, well, which one do I want more? Do I want bacon, eggs, avocado, or coconut oil? Like, I think through all my fats, and sometimes I'm like, I want all 4, and then I have to, if I'm going off my peak ranges of really optimality of macronutrient ranges and such, then I like divvy the portions. I get a little bit of each one of those because I want the full combination. Or I'm like, you know what? I really like bacon is overriding today. I get all the other fats out. I cook with a teeny little spray of like an olive or coconut oil based cooking spray. And you know, that's it. So I really don't see anybody having the need to do more than maximum 2 servings of coconut oil in a day, a serving being 2 to 3 teaspoons per day. Any product or food can be problematic in the wrong portion size. One of my favorite people, Lane Norton, he's like the godfather of all bodybuilding, always says the dosage makes the poison. And I really agree with that. So let's be careful not to jump to sensationalist claims. Let's all think critically. If you have joined sometime through this, thank you for being here. And I encourage you to go back to the beginning because I have covered 4 different tenets, 4 to 5, I can't remember. I've gone through a lot of understanding these things. So the long and short is, don't believe everything you read, think critically, bring it back to your variables, and keep asking me questions. I love to share and love to teach. I'm very grateful for the thought processes that I have, that I've grown and cultivated over my years of needing to figure all of this out for myself. And so very happy to be able to help, even if it's just one of you, think a little bit better. So please share this video, leave me a comment. What did you learn? Do you have any follow-up feedback? Are you angry at what I've taught? Anything that you want to counter? I'm very open to hearing that feedback. So love all my body buds. Thanks for being here. Power your body, 1 meal, 1 workout, 1 day at a time.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave us a review on iTunes. You can learn more about Body Buddies and Power Foods Lifestyle by going to www.body-buddies.com, BODY-BUDDIES.com, and powerfoodslifestyle.com. That's www.powerfoodslifestyle.com.
Information in this episode is provided for informational purposes and is not meant to substitute the advice provided by your own physician or other medical professional. Information and statements regarding dietary supplements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration and are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.